Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
Welcome to The Ray Taylor Show, where I bring you reviews of the latest movies and TV shows, as well as classic and foreign films. I'm your host, Ray Taylor, and on this podcast, I'll be talking about all things film and television. Whether you're looking for a new show to binge or want to know if that blockbuster is worth the trip to the theater, or just want to hear my thoughts on a classic or foreign film, I've got you covered. So join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for new episodes, and let's dive into the world of film and television together. On today's episode, I am regrettably talking about Fearless Hyena 2. Came out in 1983, directed by Chan Chuen, written by Lo Wei, starring, of course, Jackie Chan. In this movie, a pair of evil kung fu artists, Heaven and Earth, are slaughtering the entire yin-yang brotherhood. The movie opens with two members of their brotherhood and their two male children being chased by Heaven and Earth and miscellaneous bad guys. The two members get away separately with their children. 20 years later, we see Chang Lung, played by Jackie Chan, as he hunts frogs and snakes, keeping them in his pants. You learn, this is like a way, you learn, this is a ridiculous description. You learn he was one of the boys. The other is a lazy man who uses windmill-driven levers to deliver things to and from his bedside, even a chamber pot and breakfast. Eventually, their respective paternal figures are killed, and they are forced to fight Heaven and Earth. That is a crazy... That actually helps me understand this movie more than I did watching it. I did not like this movie at all. I really didn't like this movie. It wasn't until I was about to start watching this movie and read the description that was on Criterion. The fact that this movie is on the Criterion channel is mind-blowing. But I read the description of it and found out some information, the issues that this film was faced with, one of which being that Jackie Chan left production about halfway into production, left the film about halfway into production to go to a rival film studio. So they cobbled this movie together with his stunt double doing some of the scenes with literally just using footage from other Jackie Chan movies. This movie is confusing, very confusing. There's zero connection to the first film, which I didn't mind. The first film, The Fearless Hyenas, felt like two separate stories stitched together. Both stories were interesting, though. This is just a mess. Just a mess. No connection at all. Just overly complicated as well. A lot of unnecessary characters. The fights weren't that great. There maybe is a couple okay fun fights, but not enough to make up for the mess that this movie is. There are characters, like, because I read the description and that the stunt double took over for some of Jackie Chan's parts, confused me when one of the other actors kind of looks like Jackie Chan. And after having read the description, he looks like Jackie Chan because he's supposed to be his brother. Or maybe they're cousins, actually. I don't know. I thought he was supposed to be Jackie Chan's character because they both have friends, and their friends kind of look similar, too. But obviously different actors for both. It was just very confusing. Thinking that Jackie's character was the same as this guy that has these like Rube Goldberg kind of contraptions in his house. Those were interesting as well. But I was very confused, thinking these characters were the same character, these different actors were the same characters. But of course it wasn't. Towards the end, when they end up meeting each other, it was pretty clear that they were separate characters. Had no idea that they were the children that were running away with the adults at the beginning of the movie. So this movie, just because of all of that, was so confusing. The one character that looked like Jackie Chan has a lot of interesting inventions those Rube Goldberg things, pulling a lever, gets his like food delivered to his bed, and like uses contraptions, these booby traps at the end of the movie. That an interesting idea, but ultimately, it didn't make the movie good in any way. Let's take a short break from this episode. Hey, loyal listeners of The Ray Taylor Show. It's one thing to tune in and engage with the content that I passionately create for you. But what if I told you there's a way to wear your fandom? Introducing our exclusive line of merchandise inspired directly by the vibes and visuals of this very podcast. From stylish t-shirts that'll make you stand out in the crowd to our eco-friendly, biodegradable phone cases adorned with artwork inspired by the show. You can now carry a piece of The Ray Taylor Show wherever you go. Whether you're looking to make a fashion statement, protect your phone with some flair, or simply to show off your love for the show, our merchandise has got you covered. Ready to rock our gear? Head on over to inspireddisorder.com and get yours today. Wear the show, be the vibe. Now let's get back to the show. This movie also had a lot of graphic violence, surprisingly. Like people actually dying, getting stabbed and impaled and things like that. Usually in Kung Fu movie, they just end up lying motionless on the ground. They don't end up with like spears sticking through them and stuff. But I don't know, maybe they were trying to give it something for people to enjoy. I don't know. This is mind-blowing that this movie exists. I don't know why this is a sequel. I mean, obviously it makes sense that it's bad because there's like footage from other Jackie Chan films. Like there's footage when you first see Jackie Chan's character when he's collecting the food. That's from spiritual Kung Fu. When he's given punishment for their monastery getting broken into and having a book stolen, he is one of the people punished to meditate for like a day or two. And after this punishment, he goes and collects a bunch of different animals to put it into a giant stew because he's going to be super hungry. So that whole scene is from a different movie. The final fight scene from the first Fearless Hyena movie with Jackie Chan is used in the final, like the end of this film is exactly the end of the first film. After Jackie kills the guy in the first film, he like gets him in this like handstand position and then like drops a couple elbows on his crotch. And then Jackie falls to his knees and like screams because his grandpa died earlier. This movie has the exact same thing with literally the same scenes. They just cut it out of the first movie. And there were other scenes that seemed like they were from different movies as well because they didn't make sense. There's this whole part where Jackie's character works at a restaurant, and of course he's, a goofball and lazy and things mess up and just means nothing. There's so much of this movie is just confusing, doesn't make sense. And it's just so bad. It is so bad. I really didn't even want to review it. While watching it, I didn't like it. And then just even in preparation, it's like, I'd rather but might as well complete it. It's so mind-blowing that this is even on Criterion. It's mind-blowing. I can kind of understand the last one. It was Jackie Chan's directorial debut, the Fearless Hyenas. I understand the half a loaf of kung fu, which I didn't really like, but liked more than this movie. Yeah, this is just baffling. This entire movie. But for those that do care, I'm going to talk about spoilers, talk about specifics of this movie, but just a movie that I really didn't like. So spoiler warning from here on out. Somehow this movie looked like it was made before, like it looked like an older film than the previous film. And finding out Jackie Chan left halfway through to a rival studio, I have no idea. The heaven and earth devils, which they are referred to in this, are kind of out killing people. They have this like kind of dance routine that they do when they're powering up before they kill people, which was kind of interesting, I guess. In the first movie, he's living with his in this movie he's living with his dad. But in the last movie, he was living with his grandpa who got killed. So it's like this is not the same character. Jackie's not playing the same character from the first Fearless Hyenas. There's no reference to the guys that he fought, and then was fighting for their school. Has nothing to do with it. The end with the game plan and Jackie fighting in different styles based on different emotions, which was super interesting. Has nothing referenced in this one. There is zero connective tissue other than the fact that Jackie Chan is in this movie, from this being a sequel in any way. And it gets confusing when we see the other guy because he kind of looks like Jackie Chan. I thought maybe that was his stunt double that was taking over. And that's where we see this guy has this like Rube Goldberg contraptions, pulls a lever and his pee jar gets delivered to his bed, pulls another thing, and a bucket of water comes to his bed for him to wash his face. Then he pulls another lever and the breakfast table that's full of breakfast somehow slides over to him. So the trick house is pretty interesting. And then a guy sneaks in and he kind of uses the house as a way to fight this guy. Kind of interesting as well. But they turn out to be brothers. I don't know. Let's take a quick break from the show. Listeners, are you ready to take your experience with the Ray Taylor Show to the next level? Dive into Inspired Disorder Plus. For just $5 a month, you unlock a world of premium content that's sure to satisfy your every entertainment and artistic craving. Imagine enjoying The Ray Taylor Show completely ad-free the full week in both audio and video formats. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Get exclusive access to the live painting archive, be the first to lay eyes on new releases from the many faces, and enjoy members-only discounts and deals that'll have you coming back for more. With a treasure trove that includes a podcast back catalog, boasting 14 unique shows and over 600 episodes, personal insights through Ray Taylor's personal blog, creative writing to spark your imagination, and an interactive Ask Me Anything section. Inspired Disorder Plus is a feast for the curious mind. Ready to elevate your entertainment game? Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus and become a member of an exclusive club. Dive in, indulge, and inspire your senses. Now let's get back to the show. Then there's scenes where Jackie and some other guy are fighting for money. Like, almost like playing horse, but kung fu. Which is like, kind of has a fun fight scene with Jackie outsmarting the guy at the end. But still not the greatest. Then there's cuts to them like gambling and cheating. And I don't know. There's just like these scenes that's jumping back and forth between these guys, and none of it makes sense. there's this whole beggar clan that ends up getting attacked that like Jackie goes to, but then some other guy with a beard goes to. It's just like, I don't know. There's a random house gets set on fire, and you find out that it turned out to be Jackie's dad's house, and he's burnt alive for some, like, a long scene of this guy just on fire. And then the final battle is like clips of clearly the stuntman. Like anytime you see Jackie Chan's character, he's like in the background, never facing camera, fighting, while this other guy is like more closer to the camera and you can see him clearly. And then anytime you see Jackie Chan in this final battle scene, it's clearly clips from other movies, clearly clips from the first movie specifically. It is just so bad, this editing and how they tried to piece this together. It just, and the fact that so much of that final battle is literally just the final, like just bad clips from the first fight. Like not even the good parts of the first fight. Like if they just played the final battle from the first movie, then at least there would have been a good battle. And we wouldn't have known the fact that he game planned in the final battle of the first movie. He's like fighting as somebody who's sad, and then fighting as somebody who's happy, giggling, and then angry. Like going through those different emotions was an amazing aspect to the final battle of the first movie. And in this movie, there's none of that. There are no interesting aspects aside from the guy setting up booby traps in the final battle. Kind of interesting. Bloodier battle. People get impaled and stabbed and all this kind of stuff. Definitely a little bit more gruesome, but overall just horrible. This movie, I wasn't a big fan of the first movie, but this movie makes the first movie look like a masterpiece. No connective tissue aside from them literally using footage from the first movie. The story is confusing. Way too many characters. A couple of fight scenes that have nothing to do with anything. Just a movie that, in my opinion, a complete mess. So very short review for the Fearless Hyena 2. And it's kind of a bummer. It'd be interesting to see, like, this one does mark an interesting point in Jackie's history when he left this production company after blowing up in the previous film and gaining a lot of popularity, and how he left to the rival movie studio, Golden Harvest, in the middle of production. So this movie does highlight an interesting point in his career, but as a movie, this is just bad. One of the worst movies I've seen Jackie Chan in. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Ray Taylor Show. I hope you enjoyed my very brief thoughts on Fearless Hyena 2. Don't forget to tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for new episodes, new movie and TV show reviews. And join the conversation by leaving a comment or rating on your favorite podcast platform or over on youtube.com/inspired disorder, where all of these episodes are available in video format. But until next time, enjoy the show. Try to enjoy the show. Subscribe to The Ray Taylor Show on YouTube and everywhere podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Purchase Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.